Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Cosmic Consciousness with Kassia. I'm not even going to try to get into the rest of my intro right now because all the words are not necessarily coming. It is Mercury retrograde. We are deep into the energies of May right now. And I'm joined by the lovely Sapper today. We're going to be talking to you guys about these May energies and what we can expect as we're moving forward throughout this month, as well as how it is that we can best adapt to these energies, work with these energies, work through these energies, and any ascension symptoms that people may be experiencing. And I highly recommend that anyone who is experiencing ascension symptoms as well, drop in the comments and let us know what you guys are experiencing, how you guys are feeling this energy. It's a roller coaster ride, and I've been wanting for many, many days now to get on and do a video for you guys, just really touching base on these energies. We've talked about them a little bit in some of the videos. We're going to be talking and referencing that full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio that's coming up on the 16th, 15th, 16th. That's a big energy that we are warming up to right now. So if you guys haven't checked out that video, definitely check that out because that's going to give you some information. The Mercury retrograde video is going to give you guys some information. But we're going to just kind of touch base with how we're feeling and experiencing these energies right now and what we can do about them, how it is that we can ride this roller coaster the most gracefully. And if you want to hop on and introduce yourself and say hello, Pete.
Hey guys, I'm so happy to be here with Kassia, and she's tapped in and plugged into the energies as always. And I'm over here taking notes for our live stream tomorrow because I want to be able to give people an update on what's going on. So can you let us know what's going on right now? What are we feeling here? Why is everybody so on edge?
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. That is a good way to put it. Yeah. And so May is, so we want to backtrack a little bit and we want to talk about April for a minute. So in April, as everyone is aware, we had that conjunction of Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces. We had a lot of really powerful energies opening up for us and a lot of light coming in, right? There were a lot of activations. We really changed profoundly, even if we don't notice it yet, even if we're unaware, because now we've been plunged so deep into our shadow, we may not see it or recognize it, but there was a huge shift to our vibration that occurred in the month of April. And so now, with all of that light that's been brought in, all of the energy that's not a match for that is being released. It's purging out of our system. And we're getting a real helping hand in this process from that lunar eclipse in Scorpio that we're working up to on the 15th, 16th of this month. This entire month is powerful because we had that first eclipse in Taurus on the 30th of April that really kind of warmed us up and brought us into the month of May. And then we have the second eclipse while also having a Mercury retrograde and the first month of our Pluto retrograde. So there's a lot going on. Even Mercury in his travels is making aspect to Pluto. So the Mercury retrograde itself has a shadowy quality to it. And as we know, so does that energy of Scorpio. We are working throughout the year of 2022 with the energies of that Taurus Scorpio axis. And that Scorpio energy is really kind of taking the forefront as we're moving through this total lunar eclipse. As we said, it is really a gateway that's assisting in the purging and releasing of all this density that can no longer exist within us after all of the infusion of light that we received in April. And so there's a lot that's being brought to our attention, a lot within the shadow self, within the unconscious, coming up to the surface to be recognized, to be healed. We're dealing with a lot of inner child energy, a lot of inner child healing. There's another YouTuber that I watch sometimes now. His name's Alexander Quinn, and he was talking about these energies of May, and the way that he put it was, grown adults are going to be throwing temper tantrums. And that, in my experience, has really been exactly how this month has gone. I myself have been going through it I had an entire week where I could barely function because it was just so much emotion and energy was coming out of me. And I had to detach myself. I've had to detach myself from friends. I've had to detach myself from family members. Just there's just so much, and everybody is purging. And some people are aware of what's going on and some people aren't. So especially when that wounded inner child comes up, it really takes over, and we see ourselves sometimes almost descending back or regressing back to early childhood, even early adulthood for some of us. Just these energies coming up within us that it is like that energy of a child. Like, you know, children throw tantrums because they don't know how to express the energy and the emotion that they're feeling. They don't know how to express it, and they don't know how to deal with it, right? They can't process it. And so it just comes out at once. And that's what it's been for a lot of people. So we really want to take into account when this is happening for us. We are bound to be triggered very, very often, and we're being triggered on purpose so that these energies can come to the surface. But being the responsible and the awakened and the aware beings that we are, we can understand and recognize what's happening. And so we can take that responsibility where if we need to pull our energy back, we can pull our energy back. If somebody else is coming at us with that energy, we can understand and have compassion for where they're at. And once again, detach ourselves from that situation, detach ourselves from that energy, put up those boundaries where those boundaries are needed. And when I'm talking about boundaries, I'm absolutely talking about with people, but also our energetic boundaries. We want to keep those strong right now because there is so much energy coming out. So many people who are purging that the collective energy can feel very heavy. But it's an interesting energy, right? Because sometimes it feels really, really heavy. And then we have these other moments where it feels really light and really beautiful. And so it's like we're moving in and out of these densities, if you will. And that's what makes it so much of a roller coaster ride. So it's just really buckling in, really allowing ourselves to have our process, allowing other people to have their process, and making sure that we're not taking that process personally. That is a really important thing. We're not taking it personally when other people are sort of unloading their energy in our direction. And we're also like not attaching to the energy that's coming up within us. Because remember, a lot of that energy is just, it's stuck at energy that's coming up to be released. Right. There are some things we want to be aware of, we want to notice, because our shadow, our unconscious is telling us the things that we've been ignoring or burying that are wanting and needing to be addressed. We want to pay attention to that, but we don't want to be attaching to all of these intense emotions that are coming up. We want to feel them. That's what Scorpio energy does. Scorpio dives deep into that energy. When Scorpio experiences sadness, they don't run from the sadness. They plunge headfirst into it and fully experience that. And so we can take a note from Scorpio's book as we're moving through this energy and be willing to do that. And that's what I found myself doing earlier this week. I was like, okay, I can't run from this emotion, this feeling, even if I want to. So I'm going to sit here. I'm going to let it completely run its course. I am going to allow it to engulf me, to really dive deep into it. And in that way, we move through it, right? If you're thinking about a wave, that's the analogy that I'm being given right now. If you're standing in the water and there's a huge wave coming to you in the ocean, if you just stand right where you are, that wave's going to knock you right over. If you dive into it, you are able to swim through it. And so that's the energy. That's what we're being asked to do. And that doesn't mean that we wallow in it. There's a difference between diving into it and wallowing in it. We dive into it, we experience it, and then we allow it to go. We don't, that's what we mean about not attaching. We don't then attach after we've moved through this energy and we've released, we've cried, we've screamed, we've had our adult temper tantrum, if that's what we need to do. We don't then, as the energy starts subsiding, really attach mentally onto like, what was upsetting me so much right then? We don't pull the energy back. We allow it to continue. We allow it to continue on its trajectory, right? We allow it to pass. We don't, there can be, and that's sort of the shadow or the dark side of Scorpio energy. one of the dark sides is that sometimes Scorpio energy can get addicted to that feeling of being so intensely submerged in the emotion and almost like grasp at straws to pull that energy back. Like, how can I feel that dramatic sadness again, right? Because it made me feel alive. And so like, we don't want to get into that energy where we're like, okay, what can I think, like where we're kind of finding things to think about that are going to continue to make us upset. But we want to allow that feeling to we want to submerge ourselves in it for as long as we need to.
The ability to let go, of emotions. Are you familiar with David Hawkins' letting go technique?
I don't think so.
Okay, so literally, it's exactly what you said. It's like a literal heavy tidal wave of emotion comes up, and you just dive into it, and you let it run its course until it's like, he describes it like having a wet rag and just wringing it dry for as long as you can until the damn thing is completely dry. To dive into the emotion, to let it run its course, because I'm sure you know, because you're a super talented healer, that when these emotions demand to be felt, right? They demand to be felt. And if they don't get an outlet, if you don't give them a proper outlet, they will find an outlet through some type of dis-ease, right? It'll manifest as some type of disease. So feelings demand to be felt, especially the strong ones. And it's not an accident that you're having them. So emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence is so much about letting go. And right now is such an important time to let go, because there's so much great stuff that can come into our lives if we're willing to relinquish the addiction to the smallness that we were playing in before, right?
Exactly. And that's what this energy is doing, is it's making room, like we said, for all that light. It's allowing all that light to integrate within our being. And so it's so important to really feel this and allow this it's a healing process. Even though it doesn't necessarily feel like that when we're in it, healing most of the time does feel that way, right? When we're doing our deepest healing, we can feel the most lost. We can feel the most intensity of emotion, right? And it doesn't necessarily always feel good. And so people who expect healing to feel good are the people who get really, I think, kind of led astray in the process, right? They give up too soon because they're expecting like the end result is feeling good, right? Mm-hmm. But in the process of it, we have to allow ourselves to feel what we feel first. And notice I didn't specifically say we have to allow ourselves to feel bad, because it might not be bad, but we have to allow ourselves to feel what we feel. And that's what this energy and this month of May is really calling up within each and every single one of us. It's wanting us to feel exactly how we feel, to be honest about exactly how we feel, about every aspect of our lives, past, present, all of it. That honesty, that is another energy that Scorpio demands, is that emotional honesty. And so it's that level of emotional honesty that we're really getting in touch with as well. And so like I feel called to point out and sort of make the general recommendation that as we're moving through the month of May, we allow ourselves to have our experience, but we don't necessarily make any decisions based on what we're experiencing right now. Because we are so deep in this process right now. We are in the retrograde energy, right? Which flips our thinking upside down, which is good because it shows us another side of our feelings, emotions, wants, needs, and desires that we may not have recognized. But we also feel that with an intensity that is not necessarily, it's like inflated a little bit. And so we don't want to be reactive. We don't want to be making reactive decisions. We want to allow this energy to run its course. And then as we move through into June, the energy is probably going to lighten up significantly. Even I'm feeling toward the very end of May, we have that beautiful Pleiadian portal. And there is a video that I just put out on the Pleiadian portal as well. We have that opening up actually the day of the eclipse, the 16th. So the night of the 15th into the 16th, at least in the Western Hemisphere, this is, or Eastern Hemisphere, this is when we're having this eclipse. And then the Pleiadian portal, as the eclipse energy is peaking and then releasing, opens up. And that goes until the 24th. So that there's a lightening to that energy. This occurs when we come into alignment with the Pleiadian star cluster, which is located in the constellation of Taurus. And so it's the Pleiadian energy is coming in to really help to lighten things up and to bring that healing transmission to our hearts and our beings. And there were a lot of really beautiful messages that came through in that video, so I definitely recommend that people check it out. But I do feel the lightning beginning then, but there's still, like we said, it's going to be the ups and downs, and it's going to be different for everyone. And the energies that we're experiencing in this month of May we have another set of eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio this fall, and we have a third set in 2023. I want to say the beginning of 2023, but don't quote me on that right now. We'll get you more information on that. But so this energy is ongoing. So paying attention to what's coming up, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm not feeling that it's going to be this level of intensity every time. I feel like it's going to be another layer of healing, another layer of releasing. But I feel like this first set in particular is really, it's clearing out some deep, deep stuff. And then we're just continuing to go deeper as we move through this energy into 2023. But it's, we want to pay attention to what's coming up. But we also want to remember that this, if you are one of the people who is really feeling the purging aspect of this powerfully, remember that it's not forever. All right, feelings don't last forever unless we shove them down and we refuse to experience them. Then they will continue to linger. If we allow ourselves to have that process of recognizing them and feeling them, and we allow ourselves to go wherever it is that we're being taken during this energy, right? Like we said, we may be taken to childhood. We may be taken, some of us, to past life energy. Whatever is wanting to be healed and revealed, if we allow ourselves to have that journey and we allow ourselves to feel into that journey, it's not going to linger forever. And so it's about knowing that. It's about knowing that this energy is all about healing, right? This is, I think Pete mentioned the energy of like addictions. There's a lot of healing our addictions, our coping mechanisms coming back up, right? All of these old ways that we had, these defense mechanisms of dealing with the world coming back up again. And so I also want people to really be gentle with yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. We talk about this all the time, right? Because healing is a spiral. And so we're constantly revisiting things in order to get a deeper look, a deeper understanding, a deeper level of healing. And so as you spiral through this energy, don't beat yourself up like we've been here before. Why are we here again? Just be really, really loving with yourselves and try to be loving with other people too. Even if that love looks like I can't be around you right now, I can't interact with you right now. I'm going to respectfully sort of step away from the situation, and I love you. Right? Sometimes that's what that looks like when we're being loving and compassionate to other people.
That's a lot of emotional maturity right there, is to be able to love everybody from a distance and not get pulled into the drama, because there seems to be a very deep seduction to get pulled into other people's dramas, because some of us still are generating our energy levels from drama. So you know what I mean? We're as we're evolving, we're doing that less and less. We're raising our level of consciousness. So the seduction to go back into lower levels of consciousness and become unaware is big right now. The seduction to do so. And the thing is, dude, every time we're unconscious, it's impossible to be unconscious and not cause pain to everybody around you, right? It's so that's the whole thing. And I talked a couple of weeks ago about not putting ourselves on the karma wheel, you know, being very wary of every single opportunity we have to steer clear of the karma wheel, right? To break off the karma, because we're at that place right now where we've got the call to start mastering manifestation and enter dharma, exit karma and enter dharma. We're at that critical juncture right now. Would you say that's where we're at, Kassia?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I really like that analogy, because we are absolutely being led toward our dharma, right? Toward our purpose, this energy. And if you guys check out the full moon eclipse in Scorpio video and the new moon eclipse in Taurus video, actually, we talk about this in astrological terms of Saturn being squared by the south and the north node. And so it's this energy of the past versus the future, right? The old versus the new, all the karmic energy versus like that new energy that we're walking into. And so this is a huge release point of all of that, so that we can step more powerfully into our dharma, so that we can move into our destiny toward our purpose more purposefully. And absolutely, we want to be sure that we're not part of that process of releasing is letting go of that karma, clearing and healing that karma. So we're not bringing that with us, because we can't bring that with us. And so we want to be aware, and we want to be really looking at, because it is like I think Pete mentioned, emotional maturity. There's a level of emotional and spiritual maturity that we're all being asked to step into right now. And that can feel a little bit, it's funny to think about when we talk about the month of May, how people are reverting back to their inner child and the temper tantrums and all of that. But it's like, that's the other extreme of that energy. That's the energy that we need to purge and release and learn how to work through, so that we can step into that level of a maturity, right? And it is that level of maturity that allows us to move to the next phase of our purpose, the next phase of our lives, and to really be able to serve this planet as we came to do in a more powerful and profound way. And we absolutely do want to be aware of when we're being sucked into the drama, right? I have even found myself being sucked into that at the beginning of the month through social media and different things. I found myself kind of reverting back to some of those energies. And it was really interesting. It felt really good and righteous for a little bit. And then I was just like, what am I doing right now? Like, yes, I feel how I feel. And I do feel that communicating some of that is important, but the way I'm going about this is not, it's not constructive. This is old me versus the more evolved version of myself that I'm growing into. And I was able to recognize that and sort of cut off that energy. Yeah. Right. But it's like sometimes we get pulled back into that so that we can have that recognition of it from a different level of consciousness and awareness and be like, oh, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel good. And so if you're noticing that, just take notice of that. And then we have that opportunity to shift that energy and transmute that energy, because really that's what May is all about. It's all about alchemy and transformation. Because yes, we talk about Scorpio energy in terms of all the shadow, right? But Scorpio is the energy of transformation. It is ruled by Pluto. It is not only the Scorpion, but also the Phoenix. So there's this beautiful Phoenix energy that we are opening into, right? And there's this beautiful energy of presence, right? Through this whole process, we're learning how to be more present. We're really embodying that energy, that higher spiritual energy. There are also some ascension symptoms that I wanted to go over with people that you may be experiencing this month, aside from the inner child coming out and all of the shadow energies. There are a lot of people who are experiencing heart palpitations again right now. Dizziness is coming up for a lot of people. Fatigue. If you are feeling especially tired and drained, you want to make sure that you get as much, even if you're not feeling tired and drained, make sure that you're getting as much rest as possible, that you're hydrating very, very well, that you're taking care of yourself, of your physical health, your physical vessel, and really working with the energy of where we have all this shadow energy coming up. That means that, of course, we're going to be getting those visits from the inner critic. And so as that inner critic comes up, we want to counter that with lots of love and compassion for ourselves, as well as each other. So those are some of the things that I've been hearing about.
I know
in addition to all the emotional purging. There's
a lot of inner child triggering, which is an opportunity to reparent every single time, right? Every single time. This is so huge. This is when the way to get off the damn karma wheel and enter Dharma, which is our liberation, our freedom. And then our service to the world, what we came here to do is we've got to reparent that inner child. This is a huge thing for those of us who came in here to heal deeply wounded ancestral lines. That happens by you reparenting your inner child. And the inner child is the key to everything, by the way. I'm not going to spoil the surprise for anybody, but what we're going to understand is that the inner child holds the key to everything. It's so far as our dharma. So look for opportunities to reparent your inner child. And that inner critic, man, the inner critic that I had thought I turned into the inner cheerleader. This morning came up and just kicked my ass all over the place. I couldn't believe it. It just came out in full force. You're a loser. You're a failure. Blah blah blah. It's like it was like the tape player regressed itself. You know what I mean? So I was like, where the hell did this come from? So like Kassia said, be super compassionate now. For whatever reason, the inner child is being triggered, and the inner critic is hyperactive right now. So if you have awareness of this stuff, then you don't get pulled into the spiral, because that's what happens. If you don't have awareness, you get pulled right into the spiral.
Absolutely. And it's really our greatest fears coming to stare us in the face right now.
Yeah.
And so there's a great opportunity, right, to overcome those fears. But we have to recognize that. We have to recognize that and recognize all of what we talked about for what it is. So like Pete said, we don't get pulled into the energy, and we can just be like, okay, I see you. I see you. And I see you and I love you. And the whole reason that the inner child is the key to everything, right, is because when we're talking about the inner child, we're talking about when we heal that inner child. And that healed inner child is the connection to our hearts. It's like the key that opens up that heart space. And that heart space is where everything happens. Right? We talk about all the time how the heart is the portal to the fifth dimension. And so as we heal that inner child, we open up that energy, right? That beautiful, innocent energy, that vibrant, playful, joyful energy. And we allow that energy to be our guide. That's what guides us down the merry road of our purpose and right into the fifth dimension. It really is that simple. It's that simple, but it can be a process. Right? Because there's so much wounding that we are healing. And so just for a recap, be gentle with yourself this month, be gentle with others, take the time you need for yourself, really recognize when these old stories are coming up, when that inner critic is piping up, right? When these energies are coming up to be released and purged, and don't overly identify with them. Don't try to hold on to them. For God's sake, do not try to hold on to them. Just allow everything to move and to flow through you, and just try to be as present as possible. And I guarantee we will all make it out on the other side of this, and we will feel so much clearer, so much brighter. And that's the whole goal. That's the process, right? This is the process that we go through to get to that energy. And if we can, in the midst of all of this, find a way to appreciate this aspect of the process, it's gonna flow that much more smoothly, right? If we can show gratitude for what we're being shown, if we can remember to find gratitude in those dark moments for just the fact that we're here, just the fact that we're alive, the fact that we're being shown what we need to be shown so that we can heal and become more whole, right? That is really going to help to shift this energy for us. If we can really recognize it for the transformative process that it is, and be grateful for that. Be grateful for everything that it's teaching us, everything that it's showing us. I feel for a lot of people, this is really also going to bring things to the surface that need to be brought to the surface that may not have been addressed otherwise. And even though this energy is intense and it may not feel like the best time, it's really important, because there are things that have been festering, and this energy is clearing those out before. It's kind of like the wound. It's cleaning the wound before the wound can get infected. Because I feel like for a lot of people, there are these wounds that haven't been fully addressed, that have just kind of been sitting there and marinating, if you will. And so this is kind of like what this feels like to me. What I'm being shown is I'm being reminded of, and I always hated this when I was a kid, but whenever I would fall down and have a cut or a scrape or a bruise, my mother would have me sit down in the bathroom and she'd take out the hydrogen peroxide and she'd pour it on the cut to clean it out, to sanitize it. And it would bubble and it would burn. And I actually spent a lot of time trying not to hurt myself as a kid because I didn't want to experience that. Yeah. But that's what this month is. It's the hydrogen peroxide being poured on the wound, and it hurts, it stings, it burns. But at the end of the day, what's left is something much cleaner that can then begin the process of healing. Right. And so look at it like that, if you can, and find an appreciation for that process, because I might not have appreciated that hydrogen peroxide in the moment, but had I allowed that wound not to be treated, it would have been a lot worse down the road. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way we should be feeling if we're doing this properly, if we're looking at every opportunity to reparent the inner child, every time the child is triggered, right? We see it as an opportunity to reparent. We want to be letting the process of ascension is the process of unbecoming everything that we aren't, right? So the healing the inner child is so key. Letting go of these anchors, this trauma, this anchor, this stuff that's been anchoring us to 3D, and it's been effing up our ability to manifest what we want. We just keep manifesting the same undesirable circumstances over and over and over because out of unconsciousness, right? So we have a huge opportunity right now to go through this eye of the needle, as Bashar calls it, and let go of everything that has nothing to do with us, right? And lovingly let it go. And we should feel 100% lighter at the end of this process. Is that correct? Absolutely. We should. And if there's anybody out there who's wanting additional assistance with this, please reach out to me. My email's in the description box below. I offer Theta healing sessions where we can really get into this energy. We can find some of these roots, some of these childhood wounds or past life wounds, wherever it is, where really dig down to the root of that and help to release some of those belief systems, help to release some of those fears and those traumas so that it is easier for you to move forward. The Belvaspata I do can be really helpful as well if you're not really wanting necessarily to get into the nuts and bolts of it, but just with the assistance of the energetic release. So do not hesitate if you feel like you need assistance. We all need assistance sometimes. Healers need healers too. And so absolutely reach out to me. This is a time where you really want to be connecting with your friends as well, with those people who are on the same wavelength and the same vibration as you, who understand what's going on. It can be helpful as we're moving through this energy. There's going to be times where we need to pull back our energy from everyone and just be in our own essence and just go through our own process. And there's going to be times where it's really helpful to be able to reach out to somebody and share what you have going on, somebody who understands this process. And so reach out to any of your people on this ascension journey who are aware, who are moving through this energy, to even just having a friend to sort of process some of this energy with as it's coming up can be really, really helpful. Or even better yet, to go do something fun with and help embrace that inner child. And we don't even necessarily need a friend to do that. We can go out and do that on our own. And I think that's a really great recommendation during this energy, is just like find at least, I want to say once a day. Once a day would be ideal for each and every single one of us. But even if, say, we got a lot going on and we don't feel as though once a day is realistic, at least once a week, but ideally once a day, go out and do something fun. Do something that you enjoy, something that feeds your inner child. All right, because we want to find that balance of energy here. We don't want to delve too deeply into the depths without coming up for air. All right, so find those people that lighten your vibration. If you have those people in your reality, connect here with this tribe. All of us are very aware. This is an incredible tribe of people here, all going through this process, supporting and loving each other. Connect on the Facebook page. If you guys haven't joined that link is in the description box below. And for anybody who's finding this video who is not familiar with Pete and the Chosen 144 community, check out his channel, which is also linked in the description box. And there's a Facebook group, I think, there as well. where you can connect with other people who are going through this process and get that support and acknowledgement from each other, because it really can help to have that reminder that you're not alone on this journey. This is a period of time where that's one of those wounds that's coming up for a lot of people. It's that abandonment. It's that sense of being alone, that sense of being different, of being unloved or unwanted. And so being able to connect with other people on this journey who are experiencing and moving through these same things can be really healing sometimes as well.
Yeah, so important that we change our story right here, right now, from I'm not good enough, I'm not wanted, I'm not chosen, to I am freaking good enough, I am chosen, right? We've got to change the story. This is what all the reparenting the inner child and letting go of those deeply held emotions that demand to be felt. Once we do that and we drop all these anchors that have been tethering us to 3D, we get to change our story, right? And the universe is largely responding to our story, the story that we've been telling, right? So now it's time to tell a new story, and that will bend reality to our will. I guarantee it, right? Awesome energy update. Thank you so much, Kassia.
Yeah, that's it. It's all about the story. It's all about the story and shifting that. Thank you so much, Pete, for coming on here and joining us, talking about these energies. Thank you, everyone who's watched this video, everyone who's going to find this. You are not alone. You are chosen. You are loved. You are worthy. You are so incredibly beautiful, so incredibly important, and so incredibly cherished and appreciated and acknowledged. And so I want you to know that. I want you to feel that. And I want you to remind yourself of that as many times as you need to as we move through this energy. And if you ever need an extra reminder, that's what we're here for. All right, you guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, drop a comment down below. There are links to donate if you feel moved to donate to the channel. Share this video if it's been helpful to you, if it's somebody else that you know that you think would benefit from these messages that we've shared today. Make sure that you go ahead and check out Pete's channel if you have not yet. He shares lots of really powerful information. There's a beautiful, beautiful tribe that you can connect with and broaden that support base even more as you're moving through these energies. I want to just thank everyone for being here with us. And thank you for being here on this planet right now. It's not an easy thing to do, but it is absolutely worth it. This is what we came here for, you guys. We're really getting into the juice now. All right, this is what we came here for, to move through these energies, to continue to grow and evolve and transform like that phoenix, and to be that example showing how it is that we can move through density, right? How it is that we can transmute and alchemize that density into light. So that's the process. That's the journey that we're all on. We are here for it. We're here for you, experiencing this right alongside you every step of the way. And we will talk to you guys very soon.
Awesome. Thank you.